Well, good afternoon. Happy Friday, April 3rd. Mark Milam here, your mortgage professional. So, we put out a post last week without a video basically saying keep this on repeat until the war in Iran is over. And we are still on repeat. Mortgage rates still suffering as a result of the inflated price of oil. This is coming due to the Strait of Hormuz being shut down due to the war in Iran. And until that changes, we're really not likely to see any improvement to mortgage rates. We got a slew of economic data this week. None of it is really going to be moving the needle in terms of mortgage rates. Everything is going to be dependent upon the price of oil, which again is going to remain elevated for as long as the conflict persists. The president did address the nation this past week, informing the citizens of the United States that we would be looking at least another 2 to 3 weeks, but that the conflict would be winding down after that. Of course, the proof will be in the pudding there. How long are we really going to continue to be in Iran? And what will the death toll be as we continue to move through this event? Obviously, such a huge event as it pertains to the world, not just from a humanitarian standpoint, but obviously a regime change standpoint, and then an economic standpoint with such a vital chokehold there on 20% of the world's oil flowing through the narrow passageway, the Strait of Hormuz, controlled by Iran. So ultimately, that's going to be the player for mortgage rates. Interesting how a geopolitical conflict in the Middle East can impact home ownership affordability here in the United States, but that's exactly how this is playing out and will continue to play out until we reach a conclusion to the war. And really, even beyond that, a conclusion to the Strait of Hormuz being shut down. Now, Iran is floating ideas around operating the Strait of Hormuz a bit like Egypt operates the Suez Canal, where people who want to pass through there or ships that want to pass through there would have to pay a fee. So they floated a fee of $2 million per ship. So even after the conflict concludes now, we may see a change in the balance of how oil is allowed to flow through the Strait of Hormuz that could affect, for years to come, the price of oil, which could obviously affect mortgage interest rates. Oil being inflationary, it's one of the largest basket of goods out there. If the price of oil continues to go up, it will drag up a whole lot of other products with it, and that unfortunately puts upward pressure on interest rates. Shifting gears to talk a little bit about Fannie Mae, I want to talk about Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac and their guidance around condominiums because it has changed. Some for the good, some for more restrictive. I'll scroll down and give you the more restrictive first. First of all, they are retiring what's called the limited review process, which allowed lenders to get away with not acquiring all standard condominium docs. Particularly, we could leave out the budget. If a client was putting down at least 10% or more, we could conduct a limited review. That process is going away entirely. They're also increasing the reserve requirements from 10% up to 15% of the annual budgeted income assessment. They're going to give HOAs until January of 2024 to comply with the 15% requirement. But if you're a member of a condo or a member of an HOA, you certainly want to pay attention to this and begin budgeting now for 15% of the annual budgeted income assessment to have in reserves in order to meet Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac requirements. The good news for the Atlanta area was this right here. The allowable per unit deductible for all required perils was raised to $50,000 per unit. That limit was actually substantially lower. It was 5% of the building replacement cost divided by the number of units, and in some cases, that could make that deductible as low as $5,000 to $7,000. Raising this up to $50,000 will reopen for eligibility hundreds of buildings just in the Atlanta area. Forget nationwide, even just in the Atlanta area. This is a game changer in terms of being eligible for conforming conventional financing for condominiums. But we do need to be mindful that there are some more restrictive guidelines being put into place at the same time. Of course, if I can be of any help to you over the weekend, don't hesitate to reach out, mark.milam@highlandmtg.com.